Okay. Yes. All right. So I am recording at the same time on Zoom in Facebook. So in case you're wondering why I'm looking all over the place, that is why. So tonight we are talking about getting the most restorative sleep. And you know how we talk about, oh, how many hours did you get last night? Oh, I slept 5 hours, or I slept 8 hours, and you think, oh, 8 hours, for sure, it's going to be good sleep. Not necessarily. I know that some of you probably have woken up in the morning before and you're like, how am I feeling tired? I was literally in bed since 9 o'clock, right? So why is that? So we're going to be talking about not just tips to get the most hours of sleep, but also make those hours count. So make sure that you're getting the most restorative sleep. Does that sound good? That sounds good to me. So I used to be a very light sleeper. And these are things that I've learned along the way that helped me sleep through the night. I know, like I taught myself like a baby. And getting a much more restorative sleep, I wake up feeling refreshed and I don't fall asleep, at odd hours of the day. Sustained energy. So I think that's really important if you're gonna, I don't know, live your life to the fullest, right? You need to have that energy and that mental clarity as well, because lack of sleep just makes you feel awful. Lack of restorative sleep, anyways. I also used to sleep with earplugs all the time, which I was able to ditch a few years ago and still be able to sleep through the night. So let's get to it. So I'm sorry on Facebook you don't have slides, but that's okay. It's just less visual, but the same information. So, right now, what you're looking at is the wellness pyramid. If you've never seen the wellness pyramid, it basically is at the bottom, you have nutrition and digestion, then you have movement and metabolism, rest and manage stress, reduce toxicity, and at the very top, you have informed self care and proactive medical care. So the goal is to take care of the bottom of the pyramid first. So that nutrition and digestion, movement and metabolism, rest and manage stress, which is where we are with the sleep. So with taking care of all of the bottom of that pyramid, then the rest becomes takes less space in your life. So at the very top, you have proactive medical care that will not be as needed if you've done the bottom of the pyramid. So that is the idea. So sleep obviously is very, very important and it impacts every area of health more than just making you feel crappy the next day, right? So we're going to get into that. So why do we need sleep? Well, a good night of sleep is the most essential of a healthy life. My husband thinks I'm crazy for thinking so, but I've always felt it. I always knew that, and I've always been kind of annoying with my sleep and not able to stay past midnight. It just, my body is like, nope, I'm in the rhythm and I'm going to sleep. So unfortunately, sleep is most undervalued in as part of our modern schedules. We try to cram and fit so many things in such a busy world, and a lot of people will sacrifice sleep for work, for family responsibilities, for social time, for technological distractions, right? So you tell yourself, well, that's okay. It's just one night. I'll sacrifice this sleep for this and for that. But the thing is that it's a lot more than just feeling sluggish and groggy the next day. Um, so we have to not only prioritize the hours of sleep, but also the the quality of our sleep, and I'm going to give you some tips for that. So I know that it can seem like a lot to sleep like a third of your life, and I know that I've been told that before. Oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Have you ever heard that expression? Yes, I guess you kind of will, but the thing is, you will not live your life to the fullest if you do not prioritize quality sleep. So the consequence of cutting down or sacrificing your sleep is so much more than feeling tired. Sleep deprivation is the root of a lot of issues. And over time, if you're in your 20s, it's basically you feel like it has no consequence. But when you reach your 40s, and stuff starts showing up, well, we can't necessarily pinpoint it. Well, it's because I had 4 hours of sleep all of my 20s. We can't know that for sure, but we know that there's a lot of research and a lot of study that shows what happens while we have that restorative sleep. And if you don't have it, what are the possible consequences of that? Because when you're sleeping, your body is rebuilding, repairing itself. It's fixing blood vessels, balancing your hormones, maintaining and strengthening your immune system. It's basically like pressing reset. Your brain is processing the day, is decluttering, and so when you cut your sleep short, your body doesn't get to repair itself. So you can imagine what that causes when it's one night, 2 nights, and then so on. So that impacts also the apoptosis of cells. So that sleep, that cell cycle, that healthy cell cycle. So when you have less sleep, less rest, less restorative sleep, sorry, the the cell cycle can be interfered with, and that can cause a whole lot of problems. So, how much sleep? So that's how I started this video tonight, right? How much sleep? It's yes, that's important. That's part of the equation, but you also want to make sure that you have that restorative sleep. There's an analogy I was thinking of. It's just like eating doesn't guarantee you get nutrition. Sleeping doesn't guarantee you get restoration. It doesn't guarantee that your body is doing the restoration of your health. Because you can get a full night's sleep and still feel exhausted, right? And you just don't know why. So restorative sleep happens when you have that deep sleep, what we call the REM sleep. And that is when your body repairs itself. So that's when the full body brain recovery happens. They both matter. The quality is what truly fuels your healing hormone and energy. But if you don't have enough hours, like how long your sleep is, then that doesn't get to happen as often during your sleep. So the restorative sleep is the deep sleep where your body repairs itself. Okay, so for adults, we're talking about a minimum of 7 hours. Some people will need more sleep, and when we say it depends on people, it doesn't depend on people whether they need 4 hours or seven. The minimum is seven. That's the science. So there is no such thing. That's a myth that when someone says, I don't need that much sleep. No, your body needs the sleep, but you're not giving it to your body, and your body will show you later on, sadly. So it's very important to prioritize your sleep, and sometimes people will make fun of you. It's been my case. But no one in this world needs 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night. So some people will need 8 or 9 and so on, and that depends also on the level of activity that they might have. So that's what your sleep is based on, but it's seven. The seven is the minimum, is the threshold. So and then, of course, with age, so the younger you are, the more sleep you need. So teenagers that stay up until 2 a.m. scrolling on social media, terrible idea. They need more sleep than adults, but they have to wake up super early for high school. So we really need to help them understand that, even though they might not feel the impact. I think they definitely feel it on the cognitive functions, because there's no way they don't. But thankfully, we don't have that issue here. Okay, so we're going to be talking first about some sleep hygiene. So those are the habits and the routine to put in place to have the most restorative sleep. Okay, so it's not just to be able to get to sleep, like to fall asleep and so that you extend your amount of hours, but is also making sure that those hours count. So what does sleep hygiene mean? It's behaviors, your environment, your bedroom, all of that, things that you do during the day, all of these that impact your sleep so that you can have the best sleep and sleep soundly. So the first one is consistency. And by consistency, we do not mean how many hours you sleep, but more when you go to bed and when you wake up. Like that window needs to be consistent. Your body loves rhythm. And I know for me, if I even if I tried to sleep in, I cannot. I have trained my body well for too many years now. It goes to sleep around the same time and wakes up within that window. I just can't get past it. So it'd probably be interesting if I were to travel and yeah, and have to deal with the jet lag. But so your body loves rhythm. So even if your bedtime is not the exact same every night, like it's that window, right? Like your wake time and sleep time needs to be roughly the same, even on weekends. So it doesn't have to be super rigid, but your body needs to know because it's consistent, the consistency when it's time to rest. That will make a huge difference in falling asleep, but also staying asleep, which I know is an issue for a lot of people. So the second thing is making sure that the environment where you sleep is ideal. So keeping your room cool at night. People that open the window at night, they got something there. I do that. I do that just because I like the feeling of being in my warm blankets and and the room being cold, but it's actually it really helps with the lower temperature helps your body settle into a deep sleep, making it dark. And a lot of people have some kind of light, night lights even in the room. I have a printer in my room that I cover the light. It's just a little blue light, but I realize when I cover it, it's like, whoa, now it's really dark. So making sure that the room is dark, that helps with the melatonin production. We'll talk a little bit more about light in a couple minutes, but um, when it's dark, your body knows, okay, now it's time to produce melatonin, which is what that hormone that will help you get to sleep. And finding your sound zone is the second one. Sorry, the third one in that I like to use a white noise machine because I used to use earplugs and I needed to get rid of that. And I just like when I can hear like that hum that, you know how when you fall asleep in a plane, it's because you hear the engine. It's that same idea. Some people like to put a fan on. They sell white noise machines that just helps drown out other noise, maybe from your neighbors or your kids, and you can just get to sleep and stay asleep. Nothing wakes you up, and then bedding can affect also. So the next thing is avoiding screen. And I thought of another analogy. You know, if you're trying to lose weight and you can't stop eating desserts, and you say, well, at least I'm exercising, so it'll work. How does that go? Not so well, right? So I find that when people complain about not having a great sleep, you know, I mention a few things and they're like, yeah, you know, like I love my time scrolling before bed or watching a movie or that's how I fall asleep. Sure, you can be able to fall asleep after, but that will definitely affect how deep you sleep and how restorative your sleep will be. So if you have to use a screen, like I often have to use a screen closer to bedtime because I often work towards the end of the night, I'm gonna wear blue light glasses, so that really helps reflect off that blue light because that will affect your melatonin production. And even though you might fall asleep because you're exhausted, it will affect how deep you sleep. So even though you're technically asleep, you might not enter that restorative sleep because the light exposure. So this is any light, right? So we're not just talking about avoiding screens, but definitely just all light has that same effect on messing with the melatonin production. And if you have less, then you are not entering that deep sleep that helps your body repair. The next thing is moving daily. So we know movement is really good for your health. So whether you go for a walk, you go for a run, you do some strength training, whatever it might be, that will help your sleep by reducing cortisol. It will help. I gave a thumbs up. It will help your sleep because it will increase the deep sleep cycles. So this is really cool because physical activity improves the slow wave sleep, that REM sleep, the most restorative stage, and hormone balance. So that's something that you don't want to skip out on. And so basically it improves sleep efficiency because it usually it will help you fall asleep faster. And because it also helps balance your hormones, especially in perimenopause, so that will help regulate your estrogen, your progesterone, and insulin, which all impact sleep quality. So make sure that you move. You know, walking is a really, really good exercise. Also, limiting stimulants, caffeine, and any of those drinks, what do you call energy drinks. Um, it's best to avoid them, like at any time of the day. I have one coffee in the morning and that's it. But for people that drink coffee throughout the day, you would want to consider stopping at least noon because I mean it's not a secret, it's a sleep disruptor. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Um, this one thing I think a lot of people don't know about is do not eat at bedtime or near bedtime. In fact, ideally, 3 hours before your bedtime should be when you stop eating. Because when your body is busy digesting, guess what it does not do? It focuses less on entering that rest and repair mode that you want to get into. That's when your hormones are resetting, your immune cells are restored, and your brain clears out. So you want to have more of that. So give your body a chance. The digestion happens earlier in the day, and after dinner, don't eat. I know for a lot of people, if it's a habit, it's a little hard, but just keep in mind it's going to be hard for maybe, I don't know, 3 weeks, and then you just get used to it. It's a routine. It's your new habit that you set in place, and now you just don't eat after dinner, and it's no effort. Literally, I've been doing that for years, and it's not an effort at all. Maybe I just don't get that hunger feeling either anymore, but you have to make sure that you do eat protein throughout the day as well. Okay, so the last one, and then we're going to talk about some of my favorite tools, is diffusing essential oils. So when you diffuse pure essential oils, it helps your brain shift into sleep mode. So there's that habit as well, that recognition that your body is like, oh, I smell lavender or serenity, it's time to unwind. And then there's that chemical reaction part where your body is actually reacting to the chemicals in the oils that are calming, that help support natural melatonin production, and that help reduce that inflammation and that stress and all of that beautiful stuff. So I'm going to tell you which oils I prefer, but there's a lot. There's the balance blend, the adaptive blend are great at bedtime, and the lavender, the obvious one. And the Serenity is the one that I want to focus on tonight. Oh, sorry. Um, for those that have the slides here. And so that will help train your body knowing it is sleepy time. Okay, so my favorite tools to help me sleep better, to have just a better routine and have a deeper sleep is the Serenity sleep system. So I have tried many oils over the years and many products, and I think the most conclusive is the Serenity sleep system. Now, I do take daily supplements as well, which does have an impact on sleep for sure. So I use the VMG or DLL-VL alternate, and I use frankincense and copaiba under the tongue at bedtime. as well. So I just want to say that because, sometimes, especially when you're really used to taking care of your health, you do a lot of things. You're like, well, what do I pinpoint is the thing? But Serenity sleep system is the one thing I use for sleep only. The other things is for a myriad of reasons, and sleep is part of them. So I have a research here I wanted to tell you about the Serenity sleep system. Oh, just in case you don't know what is involved in here. These are the three in the Serenity sleep system: the oil, the capsules, and the stick. So those studies were done on that system. So there's a gene that supports healthy sleep through the regulation of the circadian rhythm. It was significantly increased in a clinical research with those that used the Serenity sleep system. And that was over the course, sorry I didn't write it here, but I remember it was not a long time. It was like 4 weeks. So that gene that helps support healthy sleep was significantly increased with people that use the Serenity sleep system compared to the control group. There's another one, a gene that is involved in the regulation of sleep, immunity, and inflammatory response that was increased in the participants using the Serenity sleep system. And so that improves the inflammation response. And inflammation, I know we talk about it, it seems, in every webinar, everything that we talk about. Inflammation is so bad because chronic low-grade inflammation does wreak havoc on your health. So decreasing that inflammation will help with sleep too, yes. There's also an EEG of the brain that showed that lavender helped with more restorative sleep that could be noticed on brain waves. That's huge. And lavender is in all three of these alongside other amazing oils. So the why Serenity? So the oil itself, right? So we have here a blend of quite a few oils. Let's see, we have lavender, Roman chamomile, ylang ylang, vetiver, and cedarwood. So these oils, they work in synergy to help calm the central nervous system. So lower cortisol, help your body produce melatonin, and that helps you fall asleep and stay asleep, which is key to get into that restorative sleep. So I mentioned lavender, what it does already on the brain waves. Roman chamomile and ylang ylang, they're rich in compounds that help relaxation and help with the GABA receptors. And the GABA receptors are like your brain's break to like a signal to calm down, like pressing the brake on that constant go 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 of your brain. And then you have the vetiver and the cedarwood. They contain compounds that are called sesquiterpenes that ground the nervous system and reduce overstimulation. That's why you'll see vetiver used for kids on the spectrum, for example, or mothers that can't stop thinking at night. That's why I use vetiver as well sometimes in my diffuser, even though it's already in here. I add some, just helps your brain shut off and yeah, when it's not time to think and plan anymore. All right, so these really have a calming effect on the brain. Then you have the Serenity soft gels, and they are they're amazing. So in here you have lavender, you have L-theanine, you have tart cherry, and chamomile and passion flower. So lavender helps your nervous system get into a deep sleep. Then you have L-theanine in here that helps your nervous system make you sleepy and stop feeling like you have to be on. And then you have tart cherry, and tart cherry contains two things. One of them is tryptophan, and the other one is a natural form of melatonin, so you can have that sleep-wake cycle work better. And then you have the chamomile, passion flower, and lemon balm, and they are well-known plants to help you unwind and shift out of that stress mode. And recommend taking one or two of those before bed, an hour before bed, so that you have time, like your body has time to to assimilate it, and then so you can feel like you got knocked out when you go to sleep. But the key here is there's no grogginess, no weird side effects, just more nights where you actually feel rested in the morning. And the third one here is the Serenity stick. And this has the same oil as in the Serenity oil, except you have the add-on of valerian. And this oil has been studied for its impact on sleep and falling asleep faster. So these three together, they're the ones that the studies showed that it had such an impact on sleep and on those markers, those genes that help regulate sleep, right? So basically what you would do as a routine is you go into your bedroom as you get ready for bed, you put 3 or 4 drops of Serenity in your diffuser and start that, and then you take a capsule of the Serenity capsules. And I'm actually going to show you quick what they look like. They're like the size of an Advil, kind of. So really easy to swallow. And then you can put the Serenity stick on your wrist, on your neck, on your feet at that point, or just before you get into bed. It smells amazing, and there you go. And then you can have an amazing sleep. And just a note, because sometimes people ask, it is safe to diffuse around your pets. Whenever you diffuse in a room, when you have pets, you have cats or you have dogs, you just want to make sure that they're able to get out of the room if they need to, if they want to, and that they can't knock over, the diffuser, and yeah, so just keep the door open, and maybe don't put 20 drops. All right, so if you are new to doTERRA here tonight, you get free shipping with an order of 100 PV. You can get a free Pebble diffuser if you place a 150 PV order. And there's lots of ways that you can save in ordering these products. So just let me know. I have 2 links ready for you if you are interested in getting those and you are new to doTERRA. One of them is the Serenity sleep system. And the second one includes the supplements that I was talking about and the probiotics, because the probiotics will also help produce more serotonin, which is very key in helping you fall asleep. If you see the slides right now on Zoom, you can scan that sleep ebook. And when I'm done with the live here, I will put the link in the comments for the ebook. Okay, and I know I didn't mention this at the beginning, but just in case, make sure that you do not apply what I talked about to oils that are not doTERRA. You do not want to ingest lavender that is not pure and that has not been tested in the way that doTERRA has. Okay, so just a safety thing here. And the last thing is there are 3 types of people that use doTERRA. There's the customer, there's the sharer, and there's the builder. So if you are someone that really could see yourself share these tools with people, because I mean, they are such great blessing in people's lives and everybody needs them. So if you are looking to make some extra income for your family, you could consider being a sharer or being a builder, and I will help you understand what that all means. So just give me a shout, send me a message, and I will help you figure out what is the best path for you. So let me know if you want to get any of these Serenity products, if you have any questions about anything. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye. See you next time.